Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Lisa Huber, and you're listening to the Divine I Am Broadcast Network, where we bring spiritual and metaphysical awareness from the heart to the public. And it's my pleasure today to introduce my friend, Sifu Boggie. For the last 40 years, Sifu has studied the Daoist skills of the Barefoot Doctor, Cloud Whisperer, Daoist Alchemist, and the DragonDog Shaman, all forms of Daoist practices which use such skills as Qigong, energizing exercise, Shun Dao Qigong, family system, Tai Chi, little brother to Qigong, Shun Qi Shen, Chinese Reiki, Dragon Dog Shaman, Shun Qi Shen, Dragon Dog Shaman Reiki, Chinese massage, energy healing, Daoist philosophy, Daoist life, coaching, and he also combines this with Eastern and Western Reiki. Is it TEAT, TEATE? Pre-
Um, well, Tai Chi, you mean? What was that?
it's the precursor to the Eastern
Oh,
Reiki.
precursor to Tahiti. It's
Tahiti.
Tahiti. It's well, that's an interesting one because it
Mhm.
was on one of the islands off of Japan, and it was said to be founded by the Tengu tribe. Well, the Tengu tribe were legends. Say the Tengu tribe were 9 to 15 foot blue avian like birds, as in like the blue avians that people mention. So and you have the Tengu. They exist in Japan. They existed in other places. So Tahiti, which is like one of the founding precursors to Reiki, was said to be created by this Tengu tribe, which were called the Birdmen. They were called the Birdmen. So it is an interesting thing, and it's a very simple one, but it's a very, very powerful one. It's got the whole Taoist viewpoint of like little and often domino effect. It builds up as you practice it. So
I
yes,
I love that. I read that and I thought I'd never heard that precursor to the Eastern Reiki, and I didn't even finish, guys. He has ancient knowledge on.
Just give it a few minutes, guys. She's here. She's just think. I mean, I'm just gonna speak for just a second. She'll be right back.
Okay, that was Shauna. He has ancient knowledge of energy systems plus Western knowledge of psychology, anatomy, and physiology, epigenetics, love it, and quantum physics. And now I'm done. You do so much.
breathe.
That is awesome. We were just talking before the show, guys. If I could just point this out, there's a place called Set Cops. Is it SETCOPS Farms, Cottages, Glamping, and Camping? And that's in North Kelsey, United Kingdom, right?
Yeah, yeah. We call it Lincolnshire. Sometimes in America you say Shire. We tend to say Shire, so it's Lincolnshire. There's different shares, so you've got Leicestershire, Lancashire. So it's Lincolnshire. If you see England on a map, it's sort of, if you see England sort of like a boot, it's on the ankle of the boot. We're on the east side of England, sort of in the middle. We're about 20 miles away from the sea, and it's 9 acres of land. Setcop actually is an old word for woods. And the 3 acres at the front have just recently had about 1,000 trees added. And so in about 5 to 10 years, it will be a beautiful 3 acres of woods. And at the back, we have it's basically farmland, or now like cornland. And this used to be an old farm, like over, I think it's 20 years, almost
It's
20 years ago.
gorgeous.
It used to be a farm, and then my partner, who's been here on her, sorting it out on her own and been here for a long time on her own. She converted it into, so the barn is like weddings. She does weddings and events, and then the cow sheds, when it used to be like cows here, they are now Airbnb. They converted into six beautiful cottages. And then there's like camping area, and then when I've come and I'm used to doing events, and I love camping and whatnot. So next year we're going into glamping, so which is a big thing, quite a big thing in the UK. So we're going to do glamping, and we're going to do different themes. Like in her weddings, like she's when the bride and groom set up their weddings, they have like the old style fun, games, like Tin Can Alley,
I
like
love it.
bag, and that bouncy castles even for the adults, all those sort of garden Jenga, and I like that. So it's like, well, we'll have that. We can have those, and we'll have a big marquee that they can be in, and so we can have big kid weekends where you can come and be a big kid again, and we'll have the adult block castle and all those games. Then we can have de-stress weekends or relaxing, and because I do massage, reflexology, acupressure, Tit-Tar, which is the Chinese equivalent to osteopath or chiropractor. Is so I actually do bone setting or bone clearing as well. So all those techniques I can use, and we can actually do so fun weekends, relaxation weekends, doing that. So it's a little bit like sort of like being a ninja, like a spiritual ninja or Jedi. Is that they come just thinking they're getting relaxation, and I'm giving them the red pill, baby.
I know you are.
I'm Daoistly, ninjally waking them up and helping them revitalize. Which is the kind of thing I like, being a little bit sneaky with my spiritual healing. So yes, so that's the goal. And then I've got lots of friends who I've got music friends who like folk music and pagan style music, and there's a thing called steampunk. Don't know if everybody's heard of it. Steampunk is sort of half Victorian, half like futuristic, and people dress up. It's a bit like play. They dress up in Victorian stuff, but then they got goggles, and there's a whole music to go with it called like steampunk, chav hop, and the steampunk rock. And I know a few people who do that, so we're going to invite those people and have music festivals here. And the idea, both me and my partner Eleanor, we like the whole idea of, we do have a bar and whatnot and can do drinking, but also like the idea of these festivals popping up where there is no alcohol and there is no, like you're just getting drunk or drugged up on your own brain, your own mind, because we actually create DMT, which is dimethyltryptamine, that allows you to. That's how you dream. The whole fact you dream is because of the DMT in your head. And adrenaline is said to be 8 times more powerful than cocaine. So, like people say, oh, Sifu's on drugs. No, it's all me, baby. It's all in my head. It's all the chemicals in my head.
Oh, yeah. Sifu, we have never met, guys, but I was just telling my friend, oh my goodness, you're going to love him. I just love your energy, and I love the place that you're talking about. If you're there, actually somebody just wrote, is that near Skeg Vegas?
Skegness or Skegness is near, Lincolnshire is sort of near, well, it's a little bit below Yorkshire. If you're, it's near Grimsby. You have to say it with a certain tone. So some of these you have Grimsby. I come from Grimsby. It's and you've also got Cleethorpes. So it's like, say, on the map. It's sort of in the middle bit, and it's on the right hand side if you're looking at the map of the UK. Where it is, I mean, I used to live right at the bottom of the. I actually lived in London for a lot of my life. But last year I moved down to Worthing, which is right near the bottom, right on the sea at the bottom of the UK, and it's beautiful down there, and I loved it. But it's still quite, it's not super dark. So if you're a star watcher, and in actual fact, we've actually had people from Worthing and Brighton just recently, which is about 230 miles away. And
I saw that. Are they the astronomers?
And they came up here to watch
awesome.
the stars up here. And the stars are in, and I've already, I mean, I'm sort of, I've got to test it for a little bit yet, but I'm pretty sure there will be, I don't know if you've heard of CE5, so Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is human initiated contact.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who do that, and I'm pretty sure there could be possibility of that being here, because we've seen a UFO, like the first time when Els was with me, and we saw this light and it was curving in the sky. And there's a thing called normally they do it like with a laser light or something. They try to say, like charge up. And I said to her, I said, if you're what I think you are, charge up. And it was curving this weird shape. It was like,
wow.
And then it got brighter and brighter and brighter. And then Elle saw it and she said, wow, what's that? And then it went shoo and disappeared. And there's definitely a few like ley line energy here. There's a few portals here.
Mhm.
So there's a guy called James Gillian, who's actually in the States, and he has he does the C5, but it's with spiritual stuff as well. So it's not just UFOs. They've had Kuan Yin and whatnot, and he's right near I've forgotten Mount Adams, which is near Washington. So that's where he is. And I've like said, I'd love to go there. And I'd always love a place like that. And there's things starting to happen here. There's interesting things saying, oh, maybe I've got a British version of Mount Adams. Maybe I've got maybe I've got a little bit of a challenge for James Gillian, like the British version. So we'll have to see. I'll have to Sifu Boggie it and chi blast it and see what happens next. But there's some great things we're going to do. It's beautiful land. There's a nice little cabin in the middle of the fields, which her Elle's son Tom, he originally made it, and he didn't know. He just, I'm going to build one here, and she was like, why have you built it in the middle of the field? And it's almost, if you remember that movie from Kevin Costner, build it, and they built it. I turned up. So I appeared, and it's like, that would be a perfect healing sanctuary.
Yes, I saw.
So we've actually, I've created one part of the camping glamping side, which is, I like to say, slight jest, for the muggles. So for the muggles, we've got the camping and glamping, and then there's the Shun Dao sanctuary side. So for people who eventually become more spiritually inclined, we're going to do different workshops. There's loads of people in the UK, healers and mediums that I know, and going to bring them down. There's loads of bards, so the old musical bard, so like pagan bards. I want to bring them down. Like I've already said, I'm already going to bring down some of the rockers I know. In fact, I'm wearing one right now. So Sprig and Mist is the friends of mine. They are pagan prog rock. So it's a little bit pagan, and very prog rock. And actually, the husband and wife in the band. She's a Reiki master. She was a Reiki master I attuned. And then her husband, Baz, is my other Sifu for our school. So it's very much a Qigong Reiki influenced band.
I love it. Sifu, I have got to tell my friend Louise Rhodes, she lives in Doddington. And I just know she's going to love everything that you're talking about, because she's into the punk rock. She's a Reiki master, light language. She's on here all the time. I have to ask you, could you please explain? I know what it means, but could you please explain what Sifu Boggie is? What that means?
Of course. I'll do the more slower version. Normally I say at 900 miles a second, but I do the more slower version. So Sifu is SIFU, but sometimes they spell it with an H, because you've got Chinese way of spelling Chinese into English, and then you've got the American way of spelling Chinese into English. So one's called Wade Giles and one's got Penying. So it's a little bit like if you ever see QIGONG and CHIKUNG, it's actually the same word, Qigong. It's the same word, but it's spelt in different ways. So Sifu means, in essence, Sifu means guide, muse, somebody point you along the way, who guide you on the path. Now, some translate it into, master. But Sifu is more of a Daoist approach. We guide, we sort of help you along the way. We don't tell you what to do.
Right.
We more, guide you. And it can actually be, it's sometimes translated as parent or father parent, but you have loads of female Sifus, and so Sifu, if it means anything, it means parent more than like father. But the fu bit is actually would be translated as father, but we tend to say Shifu or Sifu as somebody, a guide, a muse, somebody who points you along the way. Now, Boggie, how it's meant to be said, is and some people sometimes call me Bogey, and it's like, I'm not green and I'm not from your nose. So it ain't that. But Boggie was the given name. So in the Chinese martial arts and in the healing and spiritual arts, a bit like the ancient cultures, they would give you a name. And I have two names. My first name is Taiso, and then my second name is Boggie. Now, Taiso means supreme lower chaos or big trouble. So my Sifus knew from the beginning I was a bit of an instigator, not in a bad sense, but I seem to turn up when a bit of chaos is needed, or I would do things in a matter-of-fact way, and apparently it was the right way to do it. And people say, how did you know? I don't know, I just made it up as I go along. And then Boggie, well, Boggie means, it's sort of like, I actually haven't got one with me, but the yin yang symbol, the Tai Chi symbol, black and white, two dots. Well, that is actually not meant to be static or 2D. It's actually meant to be a sphere, and it turns one way, and then it turns in on itself, and it turns the other. And it actually, we say yin yang, but its actual name is Tai Chi because it is the balance of the yin and the yang. And yin means the feminine, it can mean the dark, it can mean shrinking. Yang can mean the masculine, can mean the expanding, can mean the light. And the actual word yin and yang means shady side of the hill and sunny side of the hill. But it's the same hill, it's two sides of the same hill. So Tai Chi is the flowing of the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, the night and the day. Now, Boggie is taking the chaos and the calmness, which is what Boggie means, and balancing it together. So it's the balancer of the chaos and calmness. So Boggie is chaos and calmness coming together in a balance. So allegedly, I was given that name because I can take crazy things and somehow make them almost look like they were meant to be. And I've even done this. One of my other passions is ice skating, and it's been often said, "Oh yeah, I'm British, but I love ice skating." And I used to be. I've done figure skate. I actually started.
I did too my whole life. My father had me on the ice skating when I was under 2 years old, doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, when I studied psychology, I had this epiphany with ice skating. Ice skating and psychology and sort of Taoism is the same thing. If you're scared of, if you're on skates and you're scared, your body tenses up and you try to skate on the ice and it cuts into the ice because you're moving in a certain way, and it makes the skating really awkward. And if you fall over, it really hurts. But if you can relax and let go, the skates move far more freely, and you move far more freely. And so for me, ice skating is sort of like the representation of life, is that if you're scared and agitated and thinking something's going to go wrong, it probably will. Focusing on it. And there's this actual thing in even in pilots that it's known that aeroplane pilots said that if you tell the aeroplane pilot not to hit the tower, they're likely going to hit the tower because they're focusing on the tower. And what you want to do is not focus on the tower. So it's this interesting thing in psychology in the universe, is that, like you focusing on I might fall over and being all scared, that's actually going to encourage you to fall over. But when you act relaxed and smooth, it actually swaps it. So I was actually known as Jackie Chan. I was either known as Jackie Chan on the ice, Kung Fu Panda on the ice, or the Drunken Master on the ice, because the way I would skate, there was people who knew me would say, Boggie, how the, you know, I've been skating for 25 years, and you know, like, to me, this guy was a really super skater. He says, you do things that would petrify the living daylights out of me. How the freaking hell do you stand up? And it's like a lot of people say, I seem to fall onto the ice. So I go a step, one step forward, a step, one step forward. Yep. And I very much like drunken styles. If you've ever seen the Drunken Master or Jackie Chan, I'm very much like Jackie Chan on the ice. But for me, skating is like being energy. Because the way you know, again, if you're nervous and scared or stiff, then it's really hard to skate. But you relax and flow, your skates will flow, and you can move and turn and shape. And it's sort of why I loved ice hockey to a degree. I loved figure skating. I did actually figure skating, and I did ice dance, which is like ballroom dancing on the ice.
You're just blowing my mind.
And I did that for a few years as well. And but yeah, so skating for me and like Qigong, and it's all the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it actually adapts. And there's a thing, because my teachers were both Shaolin and they were Daoist. So the Shaolin monks who wear the robes, they're like spiritual warriors. So they learned, you know, they learned to fight, but for peace. They learned, you know, to strengthen their bodies, because Buddha Rama came to China and said, at the time they were too very fat and unfit, and said, you guys are no good. You know, spiritually you're high, but physically you're stuck to the ground. And to truly expand, you must be fit, mind, body, and spirit. So they taught, Buddha Rama taught them yoga, but then said, go off into the universe and explore. And the Buddhist monks then watched the different animals and they watched nature. And that's where we get Kung Fu. Kung Fu is a spiritual practice. You know, people, even the word martial art, martial, the practice, the repetition, the learning something. The art is the flowing, the, you know, adapting, the spreading out and you know, expanding. So martial art is not about fighting. That's the cherry on top of the cake. Martial art, I'm a baker, so I use food analogy. Martial art is actually about flowing and expanding. And the whole point of Qigong is a part of martial art. It's Qigong can be used for fitness. Qigong can be used for self-healing. Qigong can be used for spirituality. And I very much say that Qigong is like an app on your phone. You know, there used to be about 20 years ago when apps were first coming out, they would say, like, you want a compass? I got an app for that. You want to find out what the temperature is in Outer Mongolia? I've got an app for that. And, you know, so there's apps for everything. And I always say Qigong is like an app. You've got a headache, you've got a bad back, you've got knee problems, you've got IBS, you've got fibromyalgia, you've got chronic pain. I've got an app for that. I've got a Qigong for that. You know, there's a Qigong for all these different ailments and injuries. There are Qigongs for, because Qigong simply means breath work, working with breath. And when you work with the breath and work with the movement and in harmony and balance, then you actually work with the mind, the body, and spirit, and it all comes together. Mm-hmm. And so one thing you should learn about Sifu Boggie is, as one of my Sifu Bas would say, my fellow Qigong Sifu, he says, Sifu Boggie, he treats you like a wall. You're a wall, and he throws 100 things at you all at once, and he sees what sticks. So you ask me a question of what's my name about, and I tell you 15 other things at the same time.
I hear your baby. Is that your baby in the background? Your doggy?
We've got 2 huskies, and then we've got a golden retriever, and I think it's the huskies. And then right here, I don't know if you can see, but right here, Purdy. She's let's see if I can lower down. Hey, Purdy, come.
Oh my goodness, I miss doggies.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, she wants fuss now. See, I've got like chi fingers, and so as soon as I start stroking a dog, I end up getting massages. I love you.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I love it. And do you have alpacas? I think I saw. Do you have alpacas?
Sorry, say that again.
Alpacas?
Oh, alpacas. Yes. Yes. There's 3 alpacas, the ladies. So at the moment, or just this morning, early in the morning for you guys, but 9 a.m. for us. If you're Eastern, it will be 4 a.m. Pacific, I think it's 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm doing a live class on my page, which is Sifu Boggie. The name's down there, or actually down there. Sifu Boggie, the school, Shun Dao School of Qigong. And on that page, yes, there's called Chi Time. Every morning we're doing about a 20-minute class. And since I moved here, I've sort of started off near the barn and I'm slowly moving near and near to the alpacas. To gently Jedi mind trick them in. Sifu's not scary. Sifu's not scary. Sifu's not scary.
I saw that. I thought, oh, that is so awesome. Qigong with the alpacas and your doggies. I love it. It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, it's a new fashion. I'm trying to start. You know, I'm always ahead of my time. So yeah. I think I've heard of the llamas. So I'm doing Qigong with the alpacas.
I love it. I wanted to ask you. I heard a rumor there's like around 3,000 styles of Qigong. How do you choose what you do? What's your favorite?
Oh, well, somebody once asked me how many I know, and I sort of worked out from the ones I know, then there's different variations. So actual movements, I probably know around about 1,000. So it can be 40 years to do it, but you work very well. Actually, like there's about 400, and there's about 3 different ways to do them. So that really probably more than 1,000. But the whole idea, I mean, what happened with me? I'm a 1970s kid. Now, I don't know about America, but in the UK, at least where I was, dyslexia and dyspraxia wasn't discovered until like the 90s, and I was out of school. So at school, they just thought I was hyperactive or just thought I wouldn't pay attention. Or later to find I'm actually dyslexic, dyspraxic, and a little bit autistic. But I didn't actually find out until actually about 14 years ago when I got my first proper diagnosis. But when I was a kid, I was always a little bit different, very loving, wanted to be friends with everybody, but I was always considered a bit different or bullied a lot. And I started doing a martial art called Kicksa, or Katina was originally called. I think it's called Kicksa now. And that martial art, one of the things in that martial art, there was like different moves. There's only 26 actual moves, but they did meditation. And it was like, my parents just picked that one because, that one's about, everybody else was doing karate or Taekwondo. They saw that one as, you can do that, do that one. And it was actually the best one for me. It was a typical Boggie move, though that wasn't my name yet. But and I started doing that and loved the meditation. And then there was what they call adjudicators that would come in to do the belt testing. And what became my SEAFOOs, they were sort of like sneaky ninjas, like Daoist ninjas, a little bit like me now. They would go to these different martial arts looking for students. They would look for people that had potential, that were good at meditation or good at the chi work. They were sort of like Jedis, and in actual fact, Star Wars, George Lucas based Star Wars, the whole philosophy of the Force is Chi. It's actually based on Taoism, and even to the fact where the Jedi and the Sith is actually the yin and the yang. You know, it's actually, or actually the yang and the yin, but it's actually, so Star Wars itself is actually based on Taoism, and even the word Jedi comes from Egypt, from the Egyptian Daoists. And Jed means light, and Jedi were the keepers of the light, the keepers of the pillar of light. So the reason that George Lucas called them the Jedi, because the pillar of light was their lightsaber. So he was so it's all like metaphorical. He was using, you know, different things. But so again, that's me throwing 15 different things at once.
I love it. Star Wars history.
So my teachers would, my original SEAFOOs would actually go around looking to these different martial arts for people, and they actually came across me, and they spoke to me, and then spoke to my parents, and sort of said we'd like to train him, and you know, they said, well, originally it was like, oh, you know, don't worry about money, or, you know, we'll just pay the minimum. But later on, I was to find out that Sifu Shun, because that's their surname, but that was the name he used. So in Malay, Shun, but he would use Shun, that he was the head of the family and head of the school. So he was known as Shun, and his brother is Po. And you know, I later found out that he charged back then in the 80s, because this was 82, around about 81 going into 82. And he was charging £500 an hour. So to teach like the millionaires and the FT and 500 index people, he was charging £500 an hour. And it was me, what he told me was, when you get old enough, you would teach for me. No argument, no. You know, I would teach you, but in return, you will teach. And that's how it sort of went. You know, we went on this adventure, learning, to start off with, learning Qigong. One of the very corny sayings they would say, he would say was, before you can learn to kill, you must learn to heal, which I think is a bit corny. But the whole idea that the Qigong, there's a healing side, there's a fighting side, but there's a spiritual. So the whole idea was, you learn first the healing side, then you learn how to defend yourself, and eventually, when you bring those two together, you would actually learn the spiritual side, which is what the Shaolin monks were all about. Is that, you know, they were unfit. They did the training in you know, the fighting side, which made them fit, and then it also heightened their spirituality. So there is this actual balance, at least in the East, of, it doesn't have to be fighting, but martial, or the fighting, the fitness side, the self-healing and the healing of other side, and the spiritual side of expanding like your consciousness and expanding your awareness. And it's all actually interlinked. And even to the fact where people talk about the masculine and the feminine, I'm very much into the masculine and feminine are actually qualities. You know, like whether you are man, woman, banana, or goat, you have masculine qualities, you have feminine qualities, but you also have sacred child qualities. And according to certain things that I've read, even in Christianity, originally it wasn't the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. According to certain people I know, originally the mother, the father, and the sacred child. And that was the Trinity, but you will find that in other philosophies and other religions. The mother, the father, and the sacred child is the masculine, the feminine, and the sacred child, or the childlike qualities, which is, you know, connecting to the universe and play and being in awe of simple things. And obviously, masculine side is more about getting things done, but also being there, you know, being there to protect, not necessarily in a fighting way, just standing there saying, I'm not having any of this. And then the mother side is the nurturing and the loving, and so the masculine side of you can create stuff, and the mothering side of you will keep it going, will keep it running, and the child side of you will make sure you never get bored of it. So when you've got active, it all blossoms.
Yep. I love that. I love that. And yeah, because that makes sense. The father's protecting and he's doing action. The mother's nurturing and keeping it going. And then the child is being creative and bringing that creativity. I love it. Makes sense to me. And things do get lost in text too, and that makes sense to me. So I wanted to ask you, because I saw a video where you were doing like a dragon type of Qigong.
Sorry.
That was awesome, because I did a little bit of studying and I saw there's something like with the 8 brocades and then an orbit, something, and then there's medical Qigong. What do you like? Animal Qigong? What's your favorite? I'm just curious. Do you have favorites?
I favorites at the time. More. I mean, I think what's happened. I mean, the thing with Qigong, you've got to see Qigong like music. So if you think of music, that's a whole massive genre. You've got different styles, classical, country, rock. But even within there, even in country, how many different styles of country are there? How many different styles of rock? So the issue is with Qigong, there's actually lots of different things under Qigong. If you hear the word Tai Chi, think of if Qigong was Yoda, Tai Chi would be Luke Skywalker. So Tai Chi is a style of Qigong. Parkour, singing, even the Shaolin Kung Fu's, they have hard styles, which are styles of Qigong. So what some people say is like a medical Qigong. And it's like, well, actually, all Qigong is medical. All Qigong is martial. All Qigong is spiritual. It's, like I said, it's like an app. It depends which mode you put it in.
Yeah.
But there are different animals. There are different energies. There are different. I mean, there are, like people who talk about, like this. Well, in the ancient knowledge, a lot of people nowadays talk about like the chakras, or they'll focus on maybe the chakras or meridians, auras. Well, the ancient ones, not just the Daoist, but all different. I found this in different religions. I went to Tibet, and I found this in Tibet. I got Indian yogis to tell me this, or even in Judaism, they said that the meridians, the chakras, the aura, the Merkaba, the Star of David, a pyramid pointing up and a pyramid pointing down,
right?
Torah field, which is like a donut, the shape of a donut. And the dantians, which are like a bit like the Trinity, like 3 power cells, they are the energy anatomy of your body. Just like in your body, you've got bones and muscles and tendons and skin. Well, in your energy system, you have meridians, chakras, aura, Merkaba, Torah field, and dantians. And they are the full system that exists. When you only focus on one bit, it's like you only focus on your nose and not everything else. You've got a beautiful, healthy nose, but everything else is going to poo. So it's learning about balance. So there's different Qigongs for all the energy systems. There's different Qigongs for all the organs. And even in like Qigong, so you have Qigong, which is energy, exercise, or breath work. That's any exercise that gives you more energy than you started with. So I can actually turn if you jog or run, I can turn that into a Qigong. So you will end up more energized than you started with. If you hoover the car or the house, or you wash the dishes or clean the curtains, I can turn that into a Qigong, because there were so, just like Mr. Miyagi, remember Karate Kid, wipe on, wipe off.
Wax off.
Everything turned into a Qigong. Right. Now, there's another 2 words that gets a little bit confusing for people. There's Nei Gong and Shen Gong. So it's all the gongs. It's gong gong.
Yeah.
Gong means exercise or work. So nei gong is actually stretching. So it's basically Daoist yoga. But the difference between in the Daoist yoga or the Qigong yoga is that when we stretch, so we tend to breathe out when we stretch, and then we pull in when we contract. So we're actually expanding a bit like elastic band. So we're like a bit like the trees, when the trees move or things move, we are moving. So when we do the Daoist yoga, we tend to stretch with it as well. And then there's another one called Shen Gong, which is Daoist meditation. And the difference is, well, anything's a meditation. People who go fishing and say, oh, I'm fishing. When I forget everything, I just focus on the fishing and I come back feeling so much better. You just done meditation, dude. You just
I love it.
The same with sewing. My grandmother loved sewing, and she, whenever she was stressed, she would go and sew something or go and fix a hole on the shirt or something, and she'd come back feeling better. And she just done meditation. She just doesn't call it meditation. She calls it sewing. And so the point is, so in essence, everything you do can be turned into an energy exercise, a stretch exercise, and a meditation. So cats and dogs, the wonderful cats and dogs that we have, you watch a cat or a dog, they'll just sit there and look into space every now and again. That's meditation. That's their meditation.
Yes.
When they wake up in the morning, they stretch. What's the first thing they do? You see them, they do the stretch. They're doing their yoga or their Neigong. And then even like Purdy, wonderful Purdy's 14 years old. But every now and again, she has a mad half hour and suddenly she's got loads of energy again. And that's her Qigong. So nature does this. Nature does all of these. And then if nature does this, so should we. We should follow the example of nature. So it doesn't quite answer your question, but I love all Qigongs.
Putting that up. Yeah, I was studying. I'm like, I just want to see what I had an idea what it was. I knew about Tai Chi, but I thought, let me just look into this. And I was like, wow, okay, this is like 4,000, right? 4,000 years old. And there's so many different forms because of how long it's been around. And it's whatever, I guess, gets you in that zone. So I was just curious, what were you going to show us today?
Well, I just wanted to say, the thing with Qigong is, I did say I was a baker, it's a bit like food. Is what's the best Qigong? Well, what one tastes good? Try a Qigong, try it a little bit and find out, because there are so many different types. If you do different ones, you'll find out one that works for you, quite simply. Yeah. So what we'll do is now weirdly enough, I did this one a couple of days ago on my Chi Time Live, and for some reason, the live totally disappeared. Facebook said I technically did something, and suddenly I was banned for about 2 hours, and then it all went back to normal again. So I don't know if it was this Qigong, but if everything goes wrong, it's my fault. I take the blame. So what I do is, so if you're, I'm seated. So if you're seated is good for this one, because there are standing Qigongs, there are laying Qigongs, there are Qigongs for going out of an airplane. Or is that just me? It's probably just me. That one. So what we do is, on your seat, just put your legs 45 degrees outwards, feet flat on the floor, but wiggle your toes. And so you're connecting with the earth, the ground. Doesn't matter if you've got shoes on for now, but in the future, if you want to take your shoes off, you can do that. Sit on the floor, even sit cross-legged, because a lot of Qigongs I do, you can actually just do with the top half of the body. You don't even need the bottom half of the body, because a lot of my students, I've had elderly students,
yes,
in wheelchairs. So, sometimes we just do ones just for the top half of the body. So 45 degrees outwards, feet flat on the floor, but wiggle your toes. And the first thing I want you to show you and teach you, so we just put the hands onto the belly, or with the belly button, and I just, as you breathe in, I just want you to feel your belly expand. And then as you breathe out, gently pull your belly in. Now, this is, if you're a yoga practitioner, this is different to yoga breath. Yoga breath in Daoism is called the fire way. This is water way breathing. So you breathe in, you let your belly expand, and you breathe out and you pull your belly in. It's literally called belly breathing. So breathe in, let the belly expand, and breathe out and gently pull the belly in. And what is happening as you breathe in and you let the belly expand, it's actually pulling your lungs down with the diaphragm, and it's putting in the maximum amount of air. And then as you pull the belly in, you're then squashing it out. So you're cleaning out the lungs, and you're also expanding the belly, pulling it in, you're massaging the organs, you're sort of giving yourself a self-massage. And then there's another technique to add to this. So that's belly breathing. And we do it the wave technique way, or like the wave, which means breathe in until you can't breathe in anymore and expand the belly, and breathe out until you can't breathe out anymore. And then that's pulling the belly in, and then breathe in, let the belly expand again. So as you breathe in, get to the top of the breath and breathe out. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your nose or hold your ears or anything else. Just let yourself breathe. Breathing in till you can't breathe in anymore, and then breathe out till you can't breathe out anymore. And just do that for a while. So in your head, so breathing in, let the belly expand. Breathing out, gently pull the belly in. Breathe in, let the belly expand. Breathing out, gently pull the belly in. And let's just do that technique with the wave breath for another 10, 9, 8, 7. So as short for as long as your breath is, just do it in your own time. 6. Breathing in, you can't breathe in anymore. 5. Breathe out, you can't breathe out anymore. And repeat. 4. 3. 2. 1. Now just keep on doing that. Now, if you only remember one thing today, that is the thing to remember. That one thing, because they say in Taoism, they say, if you breathe shallow, erratic, and fast, your thoughts, your actions, your feelings will be shallow, erratic, and fast. But if you can breathe slowly and smoothly and effortlessly, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions will be the same. So every day, at least 3 times a day, stop and ask yourself, how are you breathing? How are you feeling? So carry on just that breath, breathing in and breathing out, and continue doing that. Continue that doing, then bring the hands up and gently rub the hands. Now in Qigong, in Taoism, we call this charging the Qi, but for like scientists or medical practitioners, you're basically rubbing your hands, warming up, creating kinetic energy, warming up the capillaries, the blood vessels in the hand, and you're basically building up energy in the hand or warming up the blood vessels. Now in reflexology, which is an Eastern art, which is either hand or feet, your whole hand represents your body. The part represents the whole. So when we rub our hands, we're actually charging and energizing the body as well. So keep that breathing going. So breathe in and breathe out. Pull that belly in. Breathe in, let the belly expand. Breathe out, pull the belly in. While you continue to rub the hands for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just place the hands, one at heart level, and I'll stand up just so you can see this, one at belly button level. Okay, so one's at belly button level, one's at heart level, and keep it there and just breathe in and breathe out. And when you get the end of the out breath, So when you're ready, then breathe in and circle the hands. So point the fingers forwards and then circle around the other way. So the top hand is pointing, fingers are pointing that way, and the bottom hand, fingers are pointing that way. And breathe in, circle round, and then breathe out, circle back. So just carry on. Now keep that breathing going, the belly breathing with the wave breath or the wave technique. And now you've added a little bit of movement with the hands. So breathe in, halfway, fingers are pointing forwards. When one goes up, one goes down, and breathe out. So you're circling the chi, circling the energy. So breathe in, one goes up, one goes down, breathe out. Fingers pointing forwards. So if it's your left hand is up above, the fingers will be pointing to the right, and then breathe in. The right hand is up above, the fingers will be pointing to the left, and then you go the other way. So we're flowing the energy from one side to the other. So breathing in, you can see that as the yin. So the yin energy comes in and one hand goes on top, and then the yang energy, breathing out, the other hand goes on top. And just continue that at your own pace, at your own breath. Breathing in, expand the belly. Breathing out, pull the belly in. Doing the wave breath, so breathing in until you can't breathe in anymore. Breathe out until you can't breathe out anymore. Don't need to hold the breath, just breathe in and then breathe out. And then one hand goes on top, the other hand underneath. One hand at heart level, the other hand at belly button level. Breathe in, you swap those hands over. Breathe out, you swap them back. Continue that for 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. At your own breath, your own speed. 5. So just counting down. 4. 3. 2. And 1. So carrying on the breathing, but now bring the hands back to the heart. Just hold them slightly in front of the heart, elbows outwards, armpits open, and just close your eyes and look inwards. Hear inwards. Smell inwards. Feel inwards. What does that mean? Well, we're so used to looking on the outside. What about the inside? You know, we want to explore the world all around us, but there's a whole world in us. You know, you have thousands of cells in your body, more cells than the galaxy has stars. So billions of cells in your body. So, you know, you have a whole universe to explore inside you. So feel what you feel, see what you see, hear what you hear, and know what you know, while you still breathe for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And while you're still holding those hands, just wiggle, move. Remember you were told off for fidgeting as a kid? Well,
Do that.
So allow yourself to fidget, because fidgeting is actually the body releasing tension, you know, because illness, dis-ease, is stagnation, is the body stopping and slowing down and becoming stagnant. And that's why you become ill, because of stagnant energy and stagnant blood and stagnant flow. So when you actually allow yourself to twitch and move and wiggle, you're actually flowing your energy. That's what Qigong is all about. When you move your body, you're moving your energy, you're moving your Qi, you're moving your blood, you're moving effortlessly and flowingly, like a SEAFOO. So from here, gently rub the hands. Carry that breathing on though, that breathing in, expand the belly, breathing out, pull that belly in. Then place the hands on the face, but leave a space for your mouth. And then just breathe in that energy. Feel that warmth into your face. Feel that energy going into your face, into your head. And then as you breathe out, rub the hands again. And we'll do that 2 more times. So that was 1. This is 2. And rub again. And this one's 3. Awesome. So breathing out, 1 more rub. And this time, what you're going to do is breathe in and slide the hands all the way to the back of the head, back of the neck. So put the hands on the face, breathe in. Slide them all the way to the back of the head, back of the neck, and just keep them there just for a couple of seconds. Feel that chi in your neck now. Loosen up the neck. Because if you ever get headaches or migraines or anxiety or stress, that's because your head, neck, and shoulders are blocked. They're blocked with Cha. Cha is opposite to Chi. So Chi is everything you do want, light and energy. Cha is everything you no longer need. So stress, tension, worry, that's Cha. But it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just a thing you need to move and get rid of and start to flow again. So 2 more breaths on the neck. So breathe in, breathe out. 1 more breath. And then this time, just bring the hands in front and we're going to rub the hands again. And we're going to do that, but this time we're going to draw it to the belly for the last thing. So hands on the face, feel that warmth from the face, and breathe in, slide the hands all the way to the back of the head, back of the neck. And then as you breathe out, slide the hands down the side of the body all the way down to your belly button, and rest your hands on the belly button for 3, 2, and 1. Then shake your hands, shake your feet, shake your arms, shake your elbows, shake your ears if you're that good, and relax. And well done. And let us know how you feel. Write it down below and let us know.
That was awesome. And I'm going to watch the replay and really get into it because, that just was so relaxing. And at the same time, I was kind of getting high off of that. So I got,
Remember the brain, this is things like, because I studied medicine and I studied anatomy and physiology, and the brain, actually, the hypothalamus actually produces adrenaline. And when they tested adrenaline, it's actually 5 times more powerful than cocaine and speed. And then, when we dream, the dreams are created, but your pineal gland, the third eye, we'll get to the other thing, the third eye in a second, but the pineal gland creates 3 chemicals. It creates a melanin, which affects your skin. So like, when you're really tired, you haven't had much sleep, you look pale and pasty. That's because the pineal gland is not being allowed to actually produce melanin, which affects your skin. Then you have melatonin, which actually allows you to sleep. So it's your natural cocoa or your sleeping tablets is in your pineal gland. And then also in your pineal gland, as well as in your lungs and other places, is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. The thing that's banned and illegal and said to be naughty and you're not allowed to have it, is actually inside your body all the time. So when you're dreaming, or if you can visualize, or you dream and you see colors, and you're tripping. Your brain is producing DMT, which actually helps you dream and it helps you see those visions. So our brain is a natural drug den. We don't need anything else. My SEAFOO is very much tip-top. That's why people think I'm on cocaine, drugs, marijuana, on the skateboard. That's why they think I'm all mental, is because I've got them fully active. I can create these energies and create these, and it's not that hard, through Qigong and just through understanding, the whole thing of epigenetics, the whole understanding.
I love epigenetics.
And this, they also, both Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza are big advocates of Qigong and Tai Chi, because for thousands of years in China and the East, they've been learning how to heal themselves and learning
Right.
how to energize their own bodies because through the qigong, and you know, it really is in your head. You know, what you believe is true. That's
Yeah.
you know, the reason in science we have blind, double blind, and treble blind case studies where either the volunteer, the person doing the experiment with the volunteer, or even the person running the experiment doing the experiment with the volunteer, none of them know what it's about, because science has proven that they affect the experiment. So we're actually, you know, we're so much more powerful than we've been led to believe. You know,
Yes.
we literally do alter our own DNA. You know, there was case studies that actually proved on DNA that DNA actually states, they said 180 years because and sort of left it at that we could live up to 180 years, but the DNA actually said 250 to 500 years, possibly even longer, before you get old. That's what the DNA. So when you read, not just in Christianity with like Enoch, but in Judaism and the Muslim faith, when you read about these people who are 500, 800, 1,000 years old, and they, oh no, that can't be true. So actually, the DNA is saying otherwise. What's stopping it? Fear, anxiety, stress are big poisons for the body. They literally can break down the body. And epigenetics tells you that, you know, if you're focusing on that fear, it will actually slow you down. It'll actually wear you out. But the love effect, if when you've met a new partner, or you know, you've fallen in love, you know, the rubbish. The rubbish job ain't so rubbish. The crappy boss, he ain't so crappy.
Yeah.
Terrible drive to work ain't so bad. All because you're falling in love and your body's creating the drugs that actually you see things in a different light. So when you bring in that happiness, when you bring in that love momentum, you can change everything.
Sifu, I had a question from one of our members here, James. Come on down. He says, "Is involuntary movement the body releasing energy, and is there a meaning why the body does it?"
Right. So right. Okay. Yes. And it's actually there is actually a form of qigong called spontaneous qigong, where you know, like in if you've ever seen dance, you know, the artists, and they do spontaneous dance, and they're doing moves, and they're all over the place, and they're just going with the flow of music. Well, spontaneous qigong is very similar to that, and it's literally the body releasing what it needs to, and it's moving. You know, go back to the shaman, you know, like they would dance and they would do certain moves and they would act in certain ways. Well, it was literally doing what they needed to help the body. So involuntary movement is actually, you know, and obviously you get in the medical profession, there are certain people with involuntary movement, even like, you know, when you go into Tourette's, it's actually the body trying to release certain tensions and certain emotions. And it's actually, and the thing is when we focus on, oh, you know, oh, that's embarrassing, oh, that actually makes it worse, and it makes the, you know, that thing worse. So the whole idea of the involuntary movements is the body actually releasing tension within the body. We in the East we'd call it char, but if you go by, you know, the whole thing with me, I love science and I love spirituality. So I love the spiritual view, but I love the fact that science actually goes, well, actually that means this, that means this. And so so those involuntary movements is actually the body trying to release certain things. And it's, you know, is actually when there are qigongs that will help. There are people I've known who have had certain twitches, or, you know, certain things that, you know, they've had for many years. They started learning qigong and they've almost disappeared. Some totally, some still had it a little bit, but, you know, the whole idea is that with the qigong, what we're doing is we're working out, right, okay, so that muscle is spasming. that spasming, how do you get around, what is creating that spasm? So we work around the muscle, or we work through the muscle. I mean, the massage I do, the healing massage I do, I can work on spasms and whatnot and that sort of stuff. But Qigong itself will help release, because the spasm is just basically like it's like a build-up switch, it's building up, boom, spasm, build up, boom, spasm, build up, boom, spasm. And if you actually redirect that energy and soften up that energy and allow the blood flow again, it will come out of, a bit like hiccups. If you're in hiccups, you desperately want them to stop, but they won't stop. If you relax into them, or some people try the shock method, but if you actually relax your diaphragm, you relax your body, you'll stop that spasm. Because the spasms, like those who remember records, the old LPs, and you're stuck on the scratch, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. And what you need is just to make it flow again. And you make it flow by relaxing the body, and you can some have other things connected to it as well, and it all depends on the person. But yeah, there are qigongs, there are meditations, and it's all about relaxing the body to a degree. And you can stop those, or if it's in a voluntary movement, don't be scared of it. It's your body expressing itself. It is certain tics and certain things is tension built up in a certain way, and you can get through that by learning certain breathing techniques, learning certain qigong, certain exercises. There are definitely always ways around it. But if you're doing qigong, and one of my SEAFOOs were very much about this, you're doing qigong and you suddenly did this, or I'm sitting still, and it's like moving about. That's good. That certain people, or one of my teachers would be, yeah, that's good. The other one would hit you over the head with a 4x4. He'd train you how to get hit first, but yeah, he would hit you. So the whole idea was, for certain teachers, it's you releasing. It's a little bit like, pardon the vulgar language, but it's a bit like parping and burping. In Britain, parping and burping, how rude. But in China, especially if you're eating and you're burping or parping, it's cha, cha. They actually feel, if they're the cook, they feel honored that their food is releasing what you no longer need. Right. So it's actually meant to be released. It's meant to be let go of.
I was going to say, and I'm so used to this because I have light language people that come on and they're constantly releasing any type of energy healing, but especially I notice with light language or light codes, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because as a DragonDog Shaman, because I'm a Barefoot Doctor, a bit of Cloud Whisperer, DragonDog Shaman, and DragonDog Shaman, they've been doing light code for 2,000-3,000 years, and again, it's basically, so I say light code because obviously you've got sound, but then we've been looking at light codes and hearing light codes for a lot longer than people think. There are artists that have created beautiful works and said, I don't know where it came from.
Oh, can you hear me, SEAFOO?
Appears light code. There are musicians that created music the same way.
I love that. Yes, I know. Yep, love it. Listen, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in. If you just joined, please know I have a replay on whatever platform you're on so you can catch it. And most importantly, if this is your thing, check out Sifu Boggie because he's amazing. I can't believe all the stuff that you've been doing. Thank you for all the work that you do. It's amazing. And like I said, I don't even know you and I love you.
I love you too. And I could eat a whole one. I'm hungry.
So thank you so much. And I wanted to say, you also have the Way of Conscious Mindful Network. And
yes, that's like my show. That's my show. It's been going for 7 years. Yeah. I've had over 300 guests. I've had people do like Emily Harrison, who does the Akashic Records, David Avocado Wolf, the raw food guy. I've had different Qigong practitioners, different Tai Chi practitioners, yogi practitioners, flat earthers, people who drink their own urine. I've had everybody, you know. It's all well, it's all good. It's all good. Because it's all about your what, you know. My whole philosophy is the way. Is, you know, I'm a Daoist, but you know, it's not something woo woo. Or Dao simply means your way, your path, your balance. So I follow my way and my path and my balance. What's yours? And, you know, come on to my show and tell people what your way, because like music and food, somebody else is going to like what you do. Somebody else is going to want to know what you do. So, you know, sharing our own Tao, sharing our own way, you know, it is something we should do. But, you know, it's this thing of, for me, don't judge other people's way or path, you know, because that's their way, you know.
Their own journey. Yes.
You know, it's like, you know, don't try to start wearing my clothes, because they probably won't fit you. You wear your clothes and I'll wear my clothes. So you do your way and I'll do mine. But, you know, the whole idea is that when we share, you know, there may be things that you do that, oh, I like that, and I, you know, I want to add that as part of mine. So that's what the way of conscious mindfulness is all about. It's all about you know, just finding your balance. It's a mixture of I've had, you know, musicians on as well, and that sort of stuff, and done over 320 shows now over 7 years. So
wow. And so I noticed you put out, guys, a lot of free content he has on your page on Facebook under SEAFOO. It's under Sifu Boggie, and also you have the TikTok channel. I mean, I was just in awe. I'm like, I got to do that one. I got to do that one. You got to check them out.
You also find me on YouTube, and if you put Willow Tree Qigong, so Willow Tree and Qigong, that one is a very simple exercise, very simple, but it's had over 11,000 hits now. 11,000 people have watched it, but it's said to be the Yellow Emperor, which is said to be between 5,000 and 10,000 years old or ago that he lived. You know, it depends who you talk to, but he would say that there were certain exercises that he was willing to give 10,000 gold pieces for, and basically 10,000 gold pieces back then would be like $1 billion now. And so Willow Tree Qigong was one of those exercises that he felt it was so important, so valuable, because it helps migraines, headaches, chronic pain, lower back problems, mid back problems, hip problems, knee problems, poor arthritis, IBS, Crohn's. It can help so many different things from this very simple exercise. It is really simple. In fact, it's so simple, it's almost too simple for some people, because they get bored so quickly. But it is an exercise that just doing it. I mean, I've actually done that exercise every single day for the last 40 years. So I started, you know, around about it was in 1982 that I started Qigong, and then, you know, I'm 52 now, so for the last 40 years I've done Qigong and that exercise, and there's about 3 other exercises I've done every single day, constantly or regularly every single day ever since I was 12 years old. And that's one of the Willow Tree Qigong, and you'll find that on YouTube. I say Willow Tree Qigong or Twist the Waist. You'll find it on there, or you can always just message me and I'll send it to you anyway. But there's a load of exercises I have given away, because that's part of my path. That's part of my mission. I do actually teach. I teach as well. I actually had on Ko-fi, which is a donation sort of site, but I've actually created it in a way that I've got membership on there for different classes, but also one-offs, because some people say, oh, I just want to learn, I just want like a course. Okay, well, there's course version, and then there's the class version. The class version, obviously, you have the community and you can get to ask me questions. The course version It's one-off set of videos, and you do them and you practice them and make your own things. So it's all there. I do tend to, as I said before, I tend to throw 50 things at a wall and see what sticks. So there's different ways you can do my stuff, but it's about knowing you and just picking one. You know, there's 10 million ways to fly. Pick one.
I know. And guys, he has so much. You got to check it out. And you can reach him by going to Linktree/Sifu Boggie. And yep, please check him out. And like I said, if you just popped on, check out the replay. I'm going to make sure I post that at other places too. Thank you so very much, Sifu Boggie. I love you. Take care, everybody.
It's been awesome.
Take care.